The soldiers from France directly, unlike a Marine, which you guys see the gentleman at the artillery demonstration? That is a French Marine. Those are private companies that they get a little bit of funding from the government, but not entirely. It's mostly privately done. And they were sent a lot of years earlier than we were in the conflict. In the colonies, we were sent just, after. We're funded from the government directly. So you see a lot of our stuff is a lot nicer. I would have been stationed here in Fort Niagara during 1759, and a little bit earlier. So let's talk about the weapon. This is a Saint-Louis musket. It is a smooth-bore musket. Now, unlike weapons today, and even rifles back then, this barrel is smooth-bored. It doesn't have any spiraling like rifles do today. So when you throw a football and it spirals and it slices through the air, and it'll hit its target accurately because it is spiraling. This does not do that. Rifles back then, they took a long time to load and they were very expensive. So armies didn't want to have to train the men how to do it because we're all pretty stupid. Probably can't read and write. So they need a simple weapon for us to use. Now this is a 69 caliber weapon. They use a 64 caliber ball. The reason for that being, do you remember they were swabbing the cabin, getting any hot embers out? Is you don't have the luxury of doing that with this weapon. So that will be much more accurate because the ball can fit the exact size. We don't have time to swab this during the battle. So what would happen is the residue, so much residue would build up in this that the ball, if it was the same size, would just get stuck. And I didn't have time to swab in the middle of battle because the enemy would be shooting at me. The simple firing mechanism for this is a lock. There's three components: lock, stock, which is the wood, and the barrel. Closing that pan, the way this would fire, see the little spark it made? That would ignite the powder in the pan, going to this little touch hole here, which would ignite the secondary charge, sending it towards the enemy. Now, has anybody seen the movie The Patriot? You know, they have the big lines of men just exchanging lead? That's because these guns were terrible. You could not hit the broadside of a barn. So the reason for that being was linear warfare came into development, and with those lines, you were bound to hit something. A good soldier could fire one shot in 15 seconds and 4 in a minute. So, as you can see, it's a very simple weapon for a very simple-minded soldier. First step in firing this weapon would be to take a cartridge from their cartridge box. This would hold pre-made cartridges, looking like this, which would have a ball at the end and powder on top. Now, obviously, there's no ball in here, so playing. You would tear off. Powder does not taste very good. And you need to have 2 teeth to be in the Army. You can see my spit is turning black, because you need to tear that off. You would, by the way, the safety mechanism on this gun is half cock. I could pull this trigger right now as much as I want, and this weapon will not go off. It's a very simple safety mechanism. You would pour some powder into the barrel, into the pan, close this, cast the musket about, pour the rest down the barrel, put the wadding in. Does anybody know what the paper's for? Can you take a guess? So if I'm shooting downhill, that wadding will keep the ball and the powder down, and if I tip my gun down, it won't fall out. If that wasn't there, it would roll out and I'd look pretty stupid. So you would then ram that home, withdraw your rammer, return it. Now, do you think it'd be a good idea to leave that in the gun? No, because then I'm holding a dead stick. And that was actually very, stupid as that sounds, that was actually very common that people would leave the rammer gun sitting across the field, and the British aren't going to give that back to me. So, next command, you recover the weapon, letting my officer know that I was ready to fire. Bring it to full cock, aim. Let's see if I can hit my fellows out there. Oh, and we have a misfire. That was another very common thing at that time. Sometimes the spark would not catch the powder. These guns are very fickle and very, very difficult to keep going. So they would have to take out another cartridge with powder and re-prime the pan. More powder.
So the bullet was in that white thing that you stuck down?
The bullet's in the white thing that I shoved, would be in the white thing that I shoved down. And then close the pan. Bring the hand back. Return this one. In case I need it later, if I have another misfire, they would usually have a cartridge that was already ripped, so they can get it back. Again, bring the weapon, recovered, full cock, and this is really giving me a lot of trouble today. This foot on here is not as sharp as some of the other ones we had. Let's try one more time.
Oh, got him. Yeah, you got him.
I missed that. It's one more weapon here. This was actually the most feared weapon on the battlefield. If I was in 18th century warfare, I would not want to see one of these coming at me. This is a bayonet. Now, does anybody think this is pretty sharp? You think it'd be pretty sharp?
No, it just a stab.
Not at all. The reason that this was very blunt, and if you look at the shape, what shape is that? It's triangular. Can you sew up a triangular one? Nope. It leaves a lot of damage. So you would fix this onto the top of your gun, like so. And you would have hundreds of men coming at you like this. Which I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want that coming at me. I'd probably run away, as the French did. So, and it's very blunt. So if you have anything that's sharp making a wound, it's a clean cut and you can sew it up. But if it's blunt and just ripping and tearing flesh, not so pleasant. Also, when you shoot this weapon, the powder will get on the bayonet most of the time. So, and there's a component of gunpowder that actually has manure in it. You smell that rotten egg smell right now? Kind of stinks. Tastes bad too. That's the manure part of it. And that would infect you a lot of times. It would get on your cloth, and when a ball entered, when you shot it, or the bayonet, it would take in cloth, gunpowder, everything, giving you infections. And so if you were shot or hit with one of these, you're probably not going to live. So actually in the war, these weapons killed very few people. The infections killed a lot of people. So any questions? No?
What would happen if after you shot the white packet? Like,
Pardon?
you know the white packet that you stick inside of
The musket wadding, yes.
Well, what will happen after you fire it?
That's going to go right out the barrel. The ball's in there already. It's going to go right out at the enemy. So that keeps everything in there. Because if I had it and I went like this, and that wasn't in there, that's going to fall out, and I'm going to not look too intelligent, which I already am not. So, any other questions?
What was the effective range?
The effect. This gun is effectively. I mean, is it going to hit anything? Probably not. How far will the ball reach? About 100 yards, but it can be decently accurate around 50 or 60, 75, but 100 yards. So, and it's still smoking, and that really stinks. Any other questions? No? Well, enjoy your day at Old Fort Niagara. If you see anybody dressed funny, don't be afraid to ask questions.